Welcome back to episode 3 of Windsurfing Round Greece. The problem is starting and landing. I will break the board and the sail. Today we have a change of game plan. Finally a really successful day.
There's the beach. Almost there. Gotta take my last reserve.
Welcome back to day 5 of the long distance windsurfing around Greece challenge. And as you can see, it's become kind of a running gag that I'm here again in Odysee, because I didn't make it out the first time because the wind was too light. Then I didn't make it out of Laka because I barely got in and I had to get rescued, so I didn't continue from there. So of course I have to continue the journey from here, Odysee again. But guys, today for the first time we finally have the west-northwest wind, as you can see behind me, and that's the perfect direction, because then we can just go downwind to Paga, Amudia, or maybe even Lutza. And so the wind is light today. It's maybe like 6 to 10 knots throughout the day, so we will not be making like epic windsurfing today, but the direction is perfect to make some miles down south, which is what I want to do, because usually it's now south winds or southeast winds which are bad for this challenge. So today is quite good, and yeah, we're rigging up now. It's like 1 o'clock. The clock just got changed back an hour, so it would be 2 the other days, and yeah, looking pretty good.
It's still super light, and the plan is to head out a little bit, as the wind is supposed to be a bit stronger near Paxos. So we're making a leg downwind over there, a few kilometers out, hope for stronger wind, then tack and go on the other port tack and go on the other tack. But now I'm making like 7 to 8 kilometers an hour. So at least I should be in Paga within 2 hours. Hopefully I make it a bit further than that today. But yeah, you can see on the coast here the reason why on the strong wind I didn't want to continue. Because it's cliffs everywhere and there's nowhere to land at all. So once you commit to this leg, you really have to go until Paga, which is around 20 kilometers with no stop in between. And so I think it was the good move on that day to not do it, as I didn't feel it was the right decision. But today with this light wind, I mean, it's exhausting the balancing work, but it's not dangerous at all, because I can just take a rest in the water. It's no so big waves, and just take my time and go down, enjoy the beautiful weather that we have today. I mean, I'm sailing in board shorts as the wetsuit would just be too hot today, especially with no wind. Yeah, I'll update you as we go.
this leg to Parga actually turned out really nice, because after about an hour of not planing, the wind slowly picked up, so as the session was going on I was going faster and faster, and it was really beautiful conditions, and I was getting around this cape easily just going downwind with no waves. Just a perfect day for the raceboard, honestly. And so after about 2.5 hours of sailing, I made it safely inside to Parga, which is this really beautiful, almost postcard-like city in Greece. So it was a really nice experience to land there after such a nice trip.
So happy to be here. This is so much fun that I just windsurfed to Parga, which is crazy. And I never thought I would be here with a windsurfer. I've been here I think the last time 10 years ago. I mean, it's beautiful. You have this castle over there, this village on the hill. And yeah, it's just great. I think my parents' car is there, but I cannot see my parents anywhere. But yeah, so happy to have finally made it off of Odysee and to a different place further down south. So the journey around Greece is in full swing. Woo! Yes, yes.
Wir haben dich von Berg aus gesehen, hi.
Ach, cool.
So a couple of days after this episode, the forecast showed again decent west wind. However, there was also a forecast for a 2-meter wave hitting the coast, so that was reason for concern. So instead of just heading out of Parga with not knowing what will hit me further down south the coast, I decided it would be a good idea to actually drive down with the car beforehand and check out the conditions. And yeah, let me show you what that looked like. So yeah, as you can see, the problem was that it would have been possible to head out of Parga as the bay is kind of protected. But after that there would really be no place anywhere along the coastline to land, because the beach from Lutza down to Preveza is completely exposed to the waves and there's not really any corner where you can land safely. And so unfortunately that day I couldn't go out, as I think I would have broken all my equipment heading back in. So that was not an option really. And yeah, then after about another week of absolutely no wind, the usual south direction kicked back in, meaning that I would have to zigzag upwind again to make further progress, like basically all the episodes before. But this time it would be a little bit different, because I saw that the forecast was consistently giving more than 10 knots throughout the whole day. And that meant that I could switch to the foil. And with the foil, it's much more easy to go upwind because you have way less drag and you're also way faster. So I was hoping that if I changed to the foil board, that I would be able to make at least twice the distance in the same time upwind compared to the race board. The only problem is, of course, if you fall off the foil and you have to go in non-planing mode, the foil is really going only like 2-3 knots and then you're really slow. So that's the downside of using the foil, whereas the race board still goes with like 5 knots or something like that. But yeah, I thought I'd give it a go and try something new. Let's get into this part of the long distance trip. Good morning guys, and welcome to another day here in Parga. As you can see, the weather has kind of shifted. Feels more like winter now, to be honest. It's like 16-17 degrees, even though I'm standing in front of this banana plant, which looks really like tropical. But yeah, we have south wind again, like what seems to be the usual direction here in winter. So we have to go upwind again to continue the journey. I tried already, I think, 2 times now to get out of this bay again. Same like Odysee, it's not that easy. But today we have a change of game plan, and let me show you the game plan for today for going upwind. It's gonna be the foil stuff. Yeah, I thought with a raceboard gear in like 10 knots you cannot really make a lot of way upwind. But with the foil gear, if you are actually flying, you can go upwind quite easily. It doesn't really look windy enough, but we're gonna give it a try. Go outside, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 kilometers outside. There will be some wind, and we need to go far out from the coast to get some wind to go upwind. So it's a bit risky, but that's the only thing we can do with this wind. And yeah, I'm gonna start now.
Alright, getting out here was a no planing affair, but I think we're just short of the first takeoff, because now the wind is increasing. There's Parga, so we had to go like 1 kilometer, but I think there might be a gust. The direction is not so bad. So we're finally flying and it's raining a bit.
So from here it's pretty safe because there's beaches everywhere. Just had a little bit of water, but we're continuing up the beach now and then around this little cape, and then in around, I don't know, 5 kilometers there's actually a really nice fish restaurant. So we're trying to get there and have a lunch break there. That would be nice. That would be nice. So yeah, I'm just drinking a little bit of water and then continue, because now the conditions are so perfect it would be a shame to waste them. And I just checked the rain radar, and the thunderstorm is actually staying outside, so it's not really coming in. So I will just stay close to the shore, hug the shoreline, and if it comes in, I can always go to a sand beach here. Right, let's make a little bit more distance. So at this point I had around 56 kilometers sailed, and that was the perfect timing for a lunch break, because as you saw here on this picture, the thunderstorm was coming really close and I didn't want to be caught inside a thunderstorm, obviously. And also the wind increased to like 20 knots and I was on the 1000 front wing with the foil. And I really like this combination actually for long distance, because with the 1000 front wing combined with a really small sail of the 6.8, you really have, I think, the widest wind range. So I could go like from 8 knots up to 20 knots, no problem. And yeah, that was really good, because I think that's the most important key point to doing long distance, is that you have a wide wind range with the gear you're using, so that you can go throughout everything you will encounter. But yeah, anyway, then we went to this fish restaurant, which had some amazing food, so that was really nice that we discovered that on the way. And yeah, after that I headed out again for another few kilometers before the day would end, because it was just perfect going with the foil, and I actually made more distance this day, if you just count the straight line from the beginning to the end point, compared to all the legs I've done previously to that on the race board. So the progress was really nice, but the conditions changed after lunch and there was a wave building.
so perfect because it's just side shore. I mean, it's just, I can go along the coast and I don't have to go upwind or downwind or anything. But there was just a sketchy situation where there was like a rock that was like out here, like 500 meters out, and looked to me like half a meter deep. If I crash into that, that's really bad. But I think from here on out, the rocks are gone. And the wave was kind of hard also, but down here it's decreasing a bit again.
So from there I made about another 20 kilometers of progress after lunch. It's crazy how quickly the distance disappears beneath your feet if the wind is just perfectly coming offshore and you can just go along the coastline. However, this wind was not really forecasted in any of the forecasts, with it being east wind. Instead, the forecast called for a south wind, so I was expecting to having to zigzag upwind. And as it turned out, this east wind only lasted for about 30 to 40 minutes, and then 5 kilometers before Mytikas, which was the spot where I originally wanted to land, the wind completely died, and I even had to swim in the last 200 or 300 meters because I was just going nowhere.
Fuck.
Which was really exhausting in the waves, and then I had to make a last effort to push the gear in above the shore break without breaking it, which I thankfully managed to do. So there I was with a really successful day, and I have made over 70 kilometers of distance in total.
That was exhausting. Just swimming for 200 meters, but felt like 5 kilometers with the gear. But what can you do when the wind is completely gone? But yeah, if you see, all the way over there is where we came from. So we made like 60, 70 kilometers today. Quite happy with that. But the wave was building now, was crazy. Like from within 2 hours, the wave was completely up there. But I'm happy. Finally, a really successful day on the long distance round Greece challenge. And look guys, right as I rigged down, the wind came back, and I think it went down because it changed direction. Now it's wind from the south, and before it was wind from the east, which was perfect for me because I could just go along the shoreline, because east is just straight offshore. And now I would have to fight against the wind. I wanted to make it to over there, which is Mytikas, which is like 5 kilometers away, but that's not so bad. I think I did 70 kilometers today, and yeah, I have to say for this going upwind, and the last part was not upwind, but the beginning was, the foil is just so much better if you're actually flying, because then I just make such a better angle against the wind. Or maybe I don't really make a better angle against the wind, but I'm going with 35 to 40 kilometers an hour against the wind. And I think this really makes the difference, because on the race board I'm going with like 15 kilometers an hour. So even if the angle is the same, I'm going twice as fast upwind. But yeah, the wind has to be consistent, which we saw in the end. It just dropped off, and then it was really a struggle, especially because the waves, of course, were coming back to go inside with 2 kilometers an hour. So I was swimming the last little bit inside, which was really exhausting after a whole day of windsurfing. But I made it inside. Everything is in one piece, which is not so easy with the shore break, especially if you're completely tired. And now I think I'll eat something, get a good night's rest, and then yeah, we will see. I think tomorrow we have 2 meter waves again, but after that should be some nice conditions again to head further down south. Lefkada is the next goal, which is this island that you can see in the clouds over there. And yeah, it's maybe like 10 kilometers away now, so it's not so far. So yeah, I'm really happy with the progress. See you in the next one, guys.